This is the first video in a 4-part series on the auto-tagging widget. We're going to do a quick overview of the widget, and then we're going to talk about the auto-tagging section or the labeling section. Then we'll have videos on the remaining parts of the widget. So let's hop straight into the product and take a look. So here's the auto-tagging widget. We're going to open that up. It will open to this label section. Which was the original section and the primary function of the widget. But there's also some really useful tools in the column merge and the column numbering and the object ID labeling section. Column merge will allow you to merge two columns into a third column. Column numbering allows you to do, if you will, a bait stamp type operation or a object ID kind of operation where you give a unique ID to every object based on whatever format you want. And then object ID labeling is where you do some mass labeling action where you have object IDs actually as your targets. So anyway, let's talk about the labeling section. There are some brief directions on how you use it here. But before we get into those, let's talk about what we have over here and how the basic thing functions. Okay. The way it works is you select a case, and let's select demo case. And before we do that, let's go into the demo case and see what labels we already have, so that we don't accidentally duplicate a label and ruin the effect, if you will. So we've got gov test, and that's fine, and then some other ones. But let's search for the word government, and let's call it gov2. And when we execute this, what it will do is it will go through this case, the demo case. We do not need to be logged in at this time. As long as we've got it selected here, we're fine. And it will label all the documents that have the word government in it, and it will assign them to the gov2 tag. And it works reasonably quickly, so I suspect if we come in here now and refresh, we'll find that it's already done. But let's see. It might prove me wrong here. No, it worked right away. Gov2 has been created. It's got the same 4 documents as Gov does, which is also actually a labeling of the word government. So we can see that it was in fact correct. That's the primary function. The rest of these things are features around making that more robust and easier. You can enter any valid DT search string here and it will work. So let's look at some of the additional features we have. It may be the case that you want to enter hundreds of search terms and you don't want to type them all out, or maybe you've already got them typed out or sent to you in an email or something like that. Well, what you can do is you can, read the directions I just erased, or you can just go ahead and listen to me and enter them in this format. Federal, we're going to search on the word federal, colon, fed, and that ends that. And then if we push that over, it will create that tagging. So now if we ran this, it'd search all the words that have federal in it, and it would tag them with the fed label. But let's say we have lots of these. We'll do another government one, and we'll do gov3, and we can go ahead and do that, and boom, now we have both of them. And we can start to get a little bit more complex. Now let's talk about these columns because they end up being reasonably relevant. It may be that you don't just want to label these objects. It may be that you want to label them and then assign them to users. So let's do another search term here. We're going to do action, which I don't know if action will have any hit terms, but we're going to assign that to the tag act. And then we want Stefan to review those objects. Stefan is a user here. And then we want to assign a due date on the review of those objects. And at this point, it's important you know the format that works. And that is O month dash dash and then year 2019. And let's go ahead and do that. Oh, maybe I got it wrong here. Let's see. I think it might be year first. Let's try that. There we go. That's the trick. Year first, then month, then day. And so you can see what we did is we just pushed it over and the term got added here and the tag there and then the user and the due date. Now, since I don't know if action is actually in this document set, but I actually do know that the word vampire is, I'm just going to go change this to vampire. And let's go ahead and run this search. Now what we're going to do is we're going to again go through and search on all these different terms and create all these different labels and assign them out. And that should happen very quickly. So let's go look. It might not have been that quickly, but let's see. So we've got some of them already. I think that's, let me refresh my memory here for a second. So what are we looking for? We're looking for Fed, which we have. We're looking for ACT, which we have, great, and we're looking for Gov3. So it turns out it did them all, I just didn't immediately notice them. So perfect, that was quick and easy. Now let's go into our tasks and see if Stefan was created properly. All right, there you go. The task name is named after the label that we gave it, which was the ACT. And let's go ahead and click on this and let's see, make sure that the objects were correctly assigned. And they were. So that's how that part of the widget works. Hopefully you found that useful and are able to take advantage of those features. Just as one last thing to point out actually, the auto tagging functionality doesn't have to be used through this widget. It's also available in the processing data section. And let me just quickly show it to you. You can do this at the point of data intake as well. You'll see that this looks a lot like what you just saw, and you can enter the search terms here, and it all works in the same way. It's just at the point of intake versus after the fact. So either works. Anyway, again, hopefully that's useful and you're able to get value out of it. Thank you very much.